Nothing. So go and practice over the whole of the course, but I'm sure that most of these riders racing today who've completed this course know what ladder is all about, eh?
No, actually, funnily enough, David, when I watched some of the races on TV and when I was out of when I came out in my first years, I might watch some of the racing. You will get very nervous and very uptight in front of the TV screen. But when you're out there on the race, you never seem to get that situation. I was never settle in it. And when you get to the important moment, you concentrate on what you're doing, and you're looking at the race. And I never had any of that problems. And I think that's what maybe that's an advantage, because if you get that, well, then I think it takes from your performance and also from your concentration.
Well, there they are, the spur road now well and truly blocked by cars, abandoned by people looking out over the top. Can't see the bobbies who line that in Great Britain, but they're now on this climb. You see, this is a wider bit, but it's going to get narrower and narrower all the way through, and we'll be able to watch out and see what's happening. I see Bogart is back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the front. Mappe still on the front. Looks like could be a rebellion over the left-hand side for the Pulte team. Another very good climber indeed. So this is the moment when the specialist climbers that survived so far will be in with a shout.
Yes, and as we can see, Merckx is on the front, so the Mappe guys are really taking it up, and they're driving for, I would think, Bartoli, although we haven't seen him there. Camuzin, of course, is there, so he is also, one of the big favourites. I think that is Van den Broek we can see there in third, fourth position. I haven't seen him on the screen until now, and Bogart, so we have a lot of the big favourites. I also see Schmil there earlier on, and Van Petegem, so we have a lot of the big names still in there.
But also, they understand that Julich has been lashade. As I say, he's only his 9th or 10th race of the season after his problems early in the season with his crashes and his health. So he's not in with a shout. On the left-hand side, certainly Camuzin is coming through. So Camuzin looking good at the moment. On the way up there, Van den Broek in the red, white and blue. And again, Bartoli for the Mappe team up there. And it looks like the... and one of the Telecom riders also making the grade. Still 3 of the Mappe riders up on the front, with Bartoli lying second in the string at the moment, and just behind him he's got Bettini riding shotgun on his wheel. So whilst Merckx is grinding away at the front, Bettini, another great teammate of Bartoli, is just sitting behind Bartoli, slightly protecting from what's coming up from behind, but also to help him if the action starts to come thick and fast. Avasol on the right hand side moving up too as well. There's a lot of good blokes still in contention. Where's Jalabert got to? Oh, he's still there too. Wow.
Yes, and as I think Bowles we see. Actually, I was talking to Rudy Pevenage and Walter Gooderford, and I said, how is things for tomorrow? And he said, well, our chance is Bowles, and that's the only ride they mentioned. So he seems to be there. And
as we speak, though, Bartoli is doing just what he does naturally. He's attacking that lot now. He's rode in the shelter of his teammates, and he's gone now. And it looks like Bogart is the only one that's likely to lead the chase to try and catch him up. So there he goes, Bartoli in the lead.
Yes, it's amazing. We never caught sight of Bartoli until just this moment when he attacks, and there's so many riders in there. But he's, the perfect tactic have been worked by Mappe. They took back Jalabert slowly, didn't get too excited about it, and now Bartoli have hit it really hard.
And you can see the crowd on either side of this very famous climb. Going up towards the top, there's a memorial at the top to the soldiers in the Franco-Austrian War as well. Well, the battle's being raged now. 48 riders hit the bottom of the climb, all strung out. And the question is, can many of them close up the gap on Bartoli, or is he going to ride it all on his own? Would he be determined, Sean, just to go on his own from here, or would you think he's just going to take 2 or 3 riders with him?
Yes, yes, I would say, David, he'll be trying to take a couple of riders with him, and we can see him looking around there. Maybe he's not giving it 100% because he wants to pull a couple of riders away with him, because to go on his own would be impossible. And we see the group is staying, there's quite a few riders staying in contact here, so it's going to be a very interesting final.
Well, you were telling me earlier on when we came up that normally there have been about 20-25 riders left. What do you think there's 48 riders at the bottom of that redoute, eh?
Yes, well, Van den Broek is going for an attack, so we're going to have a very interesting final here. And Van den Broek, as I was saying, he was very, very confident. He felt very, very good. And we can see now that Bartoli is riding with him. So I think Bartoli was just trying to take some riders away with him, and he seems to be, happy to ride away with Van den Broek now. So
cheeky devil, Van den Broek's gone past him.
Yes. Yes, he's actually riding past him, and he's dropped him. So Van den Broek is really going for it at the moment. But as you said, Dave, we have a lot of riders here, and I think there will be a lot of riders that come back because they're very close. They're very close to the leaders here, and they'll be in contention. So we could see another group of 10 or 15 riders getting together after this climb of Stockview.
Well, if Van den Broek gets the victory today, I should think that I won't say there won't drop a beer left in Belgium, because I went to a bar last night, coincidentally, called La Vaudreuil the 11 at 149 Rue Saint-Gilles. They have 42 beers on draft and 980 bottled beers for you to choose from. So this man Van den Broek gets his success. I should think that that bar in Liège, which is well known for its massive selection of beers on draft and bottled beers, will be drunk dry. But this is an amazing performance by this young rider. I was speaking to Chandra this morning about him, and he said to me, I said, 24, is it too early? He said, when you've got the form, when you've got to go, you've got to go. And he said that's what he felt Van den Broek was doing now. We've seen him riding early on this season now. He had that misfortune in the Paris-Nice to puncture when the hammer was down and didn't quite get back up there. But it was Max who said, when you've got to go, you've got to go. And he's got to go now. But surely he must wait again to see if he can take somebody with him like Bartoli, eh?
Yes, well, it would be a perfect situation if there was 2 or 3 riders who could, you know, create a break here, and they could go ahead, because if Van den Broek is out on his own, there's 1 or 2 chasing, and then the group behind, I think they could, a lot of riders come back together. But talking about Van den Broek, it's amazing, like the confidence he have, and I was reading in the paper, he seemed to be very confident with this, and he said like he felt in such good shape that you know, he didn't see who could beat him. And the journalist said to him, well, you know, Bartoli has won twice Liège, Bastogne, Liège, and he was only at 70% for the Tour of Flanders, and he's at 100% now. And Van den Broek said, well, just leave him talk.
Leave him talk. Well, the lad's doing the talking now with his legs, isn't he? So Van den Broek is on the way through, and the pubs and bars across Belgium now will be urging this young man on here, riding for Cofidis, which is a company for credit based in the north of France, not far from the Belgian border as well. So the company Cofidis, you'll probably see a telephone number, and I've noticed in a racing journal a telephone number on before. That's the number if you want to dial for some credits to buy a bicycle or a motor car or a yacht or something. Well, that's the company he rides for, and they're in the northern part. I'm sure a lot of Cofidis people will have come here, not only the big VIPs, but also some of the people who work for the company, because one thing I do like to see out in cycle racing in France, Belgium and Italy and the rest of it, the people involved in the companies themselves often come to the races to absorb the atmosphere, because they're greatly interested in cycling. And this particular race then, dating back to 1894, has brought a big crowd all over the place, and already in the finishing line now we can see the big crowd of people. We look again at young Van den Broek setting off here around Bartoli to try and deal the coup de grace, or whatever is the Flemish equivalent, although we're on the only territory. The Belgian flag flutters in the background, and now it's Belgium versus Italy. And Van den Broek it was that caught Mr. Bartoli, I think, napping on that particular occasion. Bartoli looking back, you can see there to see who else was coming up, and he hadn't got the strength to go with him. So over the top then, they'll be going down. The next climb of the day will be the Côte de Sprimont, which is a bit of a drag. It's only 5 kilometres from the top of the Côte de la Redoute, but nevertheless, it's one that can just a little bit just test the muscles, maybe help them on. But it's a long way then from the Côte de Sprimont to the Côte de Start-Tilmont. They've got something like about 15 kilometres to go, and much on wide open roads. So you're going to need a group of maybe 3 or 4 riders. But this lad's trying to do what Jalabert did. That's go away on his own at the moment. Is this another suicidal mission, Sean, or do you think he's going to try and press it to make sure no more than 2 riders come up to him?
Well, at this stage, you know, he's up the road, and he's going to go for it. And if it works out well, then you know, he's in with a chance of winning this race. But the guys behind will also have to chase, and I think that, you know, unless they get a group together of you know, 8 or 10 riders, if there's only 2 or 3, which we see there earlier on, well, they're going to have chased just as hard.
So we've got after Bartoli, Bogart, Den Bakker. Other riders in that group at the moment, number 2, Bettini, number 21, Rooks at the moment, Ebersol's there, Zeberg's there, Farazin is there at the moment, Hammersen, Spruck is also there, Rebellin's there. We've got quite an interesting group of riders coming up now, so that's going to be something like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, maybe 13 or 14 riders could be joining up with this young man. It's surely with that number of riders, maybe 14, 16 riders to one man, this is going to be a bit difficult for him, eh?
Yes, it is difficult. As I was saying, if you have a group of 2 or 3 riders behind, well then everybody, the 3 of those guys have to share the pulling. But if you get a group of 10 or 12, well then there's, you know, there's some guys with teammates in there, and they're going to start riding. So 3 or 4 riders riding in the front of that group, and the others are sitting on, and they're getting a good pull along, and it's going to be very difficult for Van den Broek in that situation. But I think the situation is the moment we have Van den Broek, and then we seem to have 3 riders behind behind chasing, and then there's that group of 10 or 12 as far as I can see, and maybe I'm mistaken.
Well, it's Bartoli, Bogart and Den Bakker is this little group here, coming up there, and the group behind are coming through as well. So Bettini, Figueras, Rooks, Ebersolzberg, Palazin, Rebellin, Velo, Kamazin and Spruck are in that group then. It's and also another one as well in there too. So we'll be getting up to date on those. So Bolts has made it too. So Bolts has made it. The man you tipped as a chance man today then, Sean. So, well, we're going to a break. I'm sorry we're going to have to disrupt it at the moment, but don't go away. Hang on in there, because this race is delicately poised. Only 12 seconds between this man and the group. In fact, it's the gap then 12 seconds confirmed on your screen. Let's see if he can hang on before you come back after these messages.
If you've never experienced the thrill of Mach 3, it's wake-up time. Introducing Mach 3, the first triple blade shaving system from Gillette. 3 blades positioned to shave progressively closer. You take 1 stroke, it takes 3, so you don't have to shave over and over, which means less irritation. 3 blades, fewer strokes, less irritation. Mach 3. Gillette.
Introducing the Intel Pentium 3 processor. Power to learn. Power to create. Power to explore. Power for a better internet experience.
Back live to the Cycling World Cup with City.
Some 31 kilometres to go. The lonely figure of Van den Broek out there, and a group of something like about 12 or 14 riders coming up to him now. I think his moment of staying out has gone. He should perhaps keep his powder dry and go back into the main pack. And well, what's left of it, something like 14 men behind him. A group which includes the 14 men: Bartoli, Bogart, Den Bakker, Bettini, Figueras, Lukes, Ebersol, Seberg, Falazin, Rebellin, Velo, Kamazin, Spruck and Bolts. We think there's one missing out that. We'll try and idea it for you, but looking down that list, it seems to be, except for Kamazin and Spruck from the Lamprey-Daikin team, and we've got Ebersold and Seberg and Bogart and Den Bakker. There are 4 Rabobanks in that chasing group at the moment, so they're going to make life very difficult, I think, indeed, for the Mappe team, who are down just to Bettini. In fact, I don't know where Bartoli's got, because, oh, he's in that league group. So the 2 from the Mappe team, and the 1 from the Cofidis, which is the man just about to be caught here, Van den Broek. So with 4 Rabobank riders, the Dutch people who come here, because they love to come across the border not far down from here, because the Ardennes is also part of the border with Holland. I think this is going to be a really interesting afternoon's activity here live on Eurosport. I'm David Duffield, my co-commentator Sean Kelly, watching things unfold before him. Strength in numbers for Rabobank, hey? What
yes.
about, well,
yes, well, certainly they have the numbers there, you know, 4 riders, as you said. It's a lovely situation to be in, to have 4 riders in the final of a race like this, such a difficult race. So if they play their cards right, well, then they can, you know. And Bogart, as I said, he's he's riding very well at the moment. He's in top shape, and it's the sort of finish that will suit him.
Play the cards right. Come on, just tell us what you would do if you got 4 men in there, Sean. You're the team cap. You're riding in those 4. What would you be cards? Are you attacking independently, staying in the wheels? What would you call play your cards right?
Well, I think it's just to cover the attacks, and what Bogart has to do, he has to watch the guys like Bartoli, like Kamazin, those big favourites. And if some of the lesser strong riders, the lesser favourites attack, well, then he should send a teammate with him up the road and do no work, because they can say his leader is behind, and that's all they've got to do.
I found the losing rider. This last right, number 52. It's Ertz. There we are. You see, we knew we got 1 missing, and I found him. It's Ertz, number 52. This lanky fellow just here. Again, I think there was some concern, Sean, about his ability to last the distance, but here we are. We've got, what, 25 kilometres to go. Looks like he survived.
Yes, well, Van den Broek and Van den Hoort yesterday, I was talking to them, and I was saying for tomorrow and for Schmil is just starting to try and get some points and to keep the leader in the World Cup. And Van den Hoort actually said Ars is good for a position between 5th and 10th place in this race.
Well, he's with that group at the moment. In fact, there are 3 Mapes in there. You saw them, Bartoli, Betten and Figueres. Rooks is in there, and then from the Rabobank team, Bogart, Ebersold, and one of the Zberg brothers in there. So there's quite a nice little combination of teams in there right now, and 1 or 2 Lone Rangers prepared to take advantage of any indiscretion on the part of the other group. It's going to be a bit like this now on this widest road going on from the Côte de Sprimont. We'll go past shortly the Stanockers Memorial on the Côte de Forges. We turn off this road, turn right and loop round onto a main road, and we should be able to see the Stanockers Memorial at some point. He was world champion in 1955, and there's a lovely memorial to him, a great big stone carving. He was killed when he was riding behind a journey pace in a race somewhere, and it might have been Ghent. It was certainly on a track, and the crash, and I think he was hit by the journey. Whatever it was, that Stan was killed, and a great man who has been riding in the weekend Ardennes in years gone by, and unfortunately had that terrible accident. But the memorial, we may pick it up on our camera we go through. We also, on the top of the Stocko, saw the special bust, or not bust, big carving or brass thing to Eddie Merckx for his over 500 victories as a professional rider. And look again as if Mape is soldering off to the front. That is surely not Bartoli, is it? No, it's Figueres, because he's rocking too much. So Figueres has been sent down the road to blunt things, I suppose, and because he's just a little bit off the front, keeping the speed up. Bertini is the other teammate of Bartoli, but Bartoli rides very flat back. He's got a very streamlined and very strong position, and I think he's more liked up in this part of the world than Italy, isn't he, Bartoli, from what I can find out? He's certainly, you know, almost like a Belgian citizen.
Yes, that's true, David. He was the interview in the paper yesterday, he was talking about Italy, and the journalists were asking him, you know, if he got much support in Italy, and unfortunately, you know, Pantani is the man in Italy, and everybody talks about Pantani, and he's in the shadow of Pantani, which he said he doesn't like, and he's won a lot of races in Belgium. Only his first race that he won was with the Army 100-kilometre time trial. He won it on the coast in Dixmude, and he's won Flèche Brabant Sun, and he's won, of course, Tour of Flanders, and he's won the Liège, Bastogne, Liège twice. So he looks at Belgium as being his second homeland.
Well, he's got ahead of him the final climb, Start Tillman and St. Nicola, and we got confirmation, the result of the climb then of the La Redoute. Van den Broek was first over top, Ebersol second, and Bogart into third spot. So Bartoli missed a beat going up there, and Figueres it was that tried to break this little thing up by going rather quickly. Again, we're back over the motorways and what have you, with all the traffic coming to a grinding halt. For this, the Bastogne Liège breakaway group of riders here, something like about 16 men in this group, and sorry about the picture breakup from time to time. There's a lot of good talent still in this field, and I wouldn't like to select at the moment who's going to get the victory. Even Laurent Roux there for Casino, who's been a little rider who can pop out from time to time, stage winner in the Tour de France and things like that. The 1 or 2 riders like Laurent Roux can be a surprise to the rest of the field, and Van den Broek now looks like he's dropping back. So he's been caught, and well, is he getting dropped off, or is he just taking a breather?
Well, he seems to be moving back at a quite a quick rate there. A lot of riders going by him. The effort he made on Redoute, which was, you know, a bit too much really for my liking. I think he should have dosed his effort and try and take Bartoli and another couple of riders with him, and try and form a group of 4 or 5 riders, and you know, try and get away that way. The way he attacked, you think that you would think the finish was just 500 or 600 metres up the road or at the top of the hill. And experience, of course, you know, he's very young, and he hasn't got the experience yet, and he's got a lot to learn.
Well, they're heading in towards Liège at the moment. It's been had the World Road Championship here way back in 1930. No, I didn't ride. It was World Champion in 1930. The track World Championship was held in 1975. It's the Liège, the junction of the Lourdes and the Meuse. They come in toward the left-hand side of Liège, then curl around towards Arles to the finish. We've had the Tour de France finish 8 times in Liège, and the victories have been won by people like Bartoni. Dadegaard has won here, Van Looy and Lubedink, and of course the victory we had when Brunel got the stage victory ahead of Indurain, and Indurain was in the yellow jersey. And so the race now coming towards a conclusion. We're getting inside the final 25 kilometres of the race, and still this big group of riders, something like about a dozen. I'll give you a rundown on who is in this particular group at the moment. The riders are as follows. Number 1 is Bartoli of the Mappe team. Number 2, riding for Mappe as well, is Bettini. And number 4, riding for the Mappe team, is Figuera. So 3 of the Mappe riders in there. Number 21 for the Casino squad is Laurent Roux. Number 31, riding for Rabobank is Michael Bugard. He's also got his teammate there, Nicky Ebersol, number 32, and number 33 with them is Martin Den Bakker. Zeberg is also in there, one of the Zeberg brothers, so that there are 4 of the Rabobank riders in the white and orange. Riding for the Lotto team in the red, black and yellow colours, Lotto Mobistar, is Ertz, and he's got to number 52 on his back. Number 61 is Van den Broek. There he is in the red, white and blue, riding for the Cofidis team. The young upstart himself, well, he's trying to get away, and he's now gone back into the box. He's got with him his teammate Peter Varazin from the Cofidis team as well. And from the team Polti, Davide Rebellin, number 71, leader of that particular team. Also then is number 98, riding for the Mercato Nuno team in the sort of white, sort of lightish colours, yellow and darker blue, is the rider Marco Velo. So he's in that breakaway group, number 98. 131 is the world champion, Oscar Camazin, in the pink and the blue colours, with the rainbow stripes or bands across his jersey. In there too is his teammate, 138, that's Zbigniew Spruk, riding for Lamprey Dakim in the pink and blue. And in the group as well for the pink one, you see him now on the screen, is Udo Bolts for Telecom. That is the leading group at the moment as we're heading in then, coming in towards some 20-odd kilometres to go. The gap is opening up on the chasers. The winner of this race will certainly come from these riders you're seeing live on your screen on Eurosport right now. We've got a couple of cracking climbs to come, so stay with us to see who's going to win this, the 1999 Liège, Bastogne Liège.
Alpina Weiß. Es ist wieder Zeit für dieses Weiß. Denn ich will das perfekte Weiß, das schnell deckt und das ich nicht rieche. Alpina Weiß von Alpina. Europas meistgekaufte Innenfarbe.
Nein, das schaffen wir nicht mehr. Wir landen auf der Autobahn. Alles Gute kommt von oben.
Oder von unten. Zum Flughafen.
Promise you'll call me Captain.
I will. I promise.
Wherever you are and whatever you do, Allianz with its global partners is the power on your side.
Well, they've been splitting, regrouping. The 60-man bunch of bike riders now coming up to some 20 kilometres to go. How would you read the race now, Sean? I mean, it doesn't seem to me like it's got any pattern, does it, eh?
No, well, not at all. As you said, it's splitting and regrouping, and there's a lot of action at the moment, and they have been for the last number of kilometres. Bartoli, he hasn't been very active for me. Van den Broek seems to have, had problems, and I think he has gave it his lot. But Bartoli, he's staying very quiet, but he's he's very good rider on his tactics, and he can be bluffing and just taking it easy, and he might hit later on. And he's in the perfect position because there's groups going away, and there's always someone prepared to chase, as we see, and the group seems to be pretty much together all the time.
Well, a very exciting finish we've got in this Liège Bastogne Liège for you live on Eurosport. The sun shining. It is not as warm as you'd think it would be in the sunshine. It's certainly got much better now. Temperatures as low as 5 degrees when we were out there in the Ardennes. The snow actually was still lying on either sides of the roads. But right now, coming in toward the finish, a crowd enjoying the spring sunshine. And you can see there the nice shadows from these riders as they're heading in then. Some 16 men. We had Bettini, Zeberg, Fallazin and Camlin try to get away from the group. And again, they're still trying yet again. In fact, they're still just doing it. They're hanging on just that little bit ahead of the rest of the riders. So they've managed to just open up a bit of daylight, but they've got ahead on this big climb of the Côte de Saint-Tilman, which is 14.5 kilometres from the fin. Look at the speed at which that man on the far side of the road is going across the crown, catch him up. And I think it's his Bogart who's recognised he must get up there too. Bettini, Zeberg, Fallazin and Camazin. Camazin is beginning to look to me as maybe a danger rider. He was going so well in the Flèche Wallonne until, if you didn't see it on Eurosport, I can tell you, he was riding with the brake. He went away with Bartoli. He went away with Den Bakker, and he was feeling rather cold. And he was trying to do his zip up on his waistcoat, his waterproof waistcoat, and the zip broke and got jammed halfway up and halfway down. It was neither halfway up nor either halfway down. It's like, you know, the Duke of Wellington's men, but he couldn't get up or down, and he couldn't take it off. And so suddenly he had a big problem with the zip, and that was that. So he sat up, lost 9 seconds, then 20, then something, and he'd gone back and he shouldered on to finish, what was it, in third spot in the end. But Camlin looked in good form, but amazingly, I thought he was just tired out, but he wasn't. He just did something stupid with his clothing, and now he's looking very active indeed with 19 kilometres to go. Well, it sounds like Bartoli's gone off the back at the moment.
Yes, they've mentioned Bartoli's name, and I thought I understood that he was...
Yeah, it looks like he's in trouble. Well, it looks to me at the moment as if Bartoli might have dropped out that one, but we're waiting for confirmation on it. We seem to have lost the... Oh, we've got it back again now. We've got the radio to us come back at the moment, so it looks like he's okay. A little hiccup now as we're now going down. This is tremendously fast descent on this particular part of the course here, because they go down into the valley. It's a very wide open road, and I suggest that probably Bartoli might be able to get back again.
Yes, it's a very fast section of road, and as you were saying, when we're driving in, Dave, it wasn't the very nicest scenery, but it's definitely a good run-in for riders, considering the old run-in some years ago. There was a lot of corners and some cobblestones. There were very good roads, not very tight corners, so I think for the riders they will appreciate the run-in today, although when they hit the last climb, of course, it's very difficult, but the roadway is very good.
Yes, and this little place of ours is famous for its coal mines in the 50s, and also some great engineering works too. We'll be able to see them as the riders drop down in towards the bottom of the valley before they turn up as well. And the town just has some 27,800 inhabitants to it, at the top of the climb they're going to come to after the Côte de Saint-Tilman. It's a long, dragging, racing sort of climb, the first climb they come to, but the next one is a bit of a so-and-so, the one up St. Nicholas. So I don't think somehow we're going to find 16 men coming down the finishing straight together. They're rocketing along now. This is the one when they must all now get their act together and be prepared for the climb. What's it like though, Sean, going fast like this and then suddenly finding yourself another hill at this particular stage of the race? Because we've been riding now some 245 kilometres or thereabouts, and you're going very fast and you're going very slow. What's it do to your legs?
Well, it's actually it's a good thing to have to go fast, or to be going fast and down, is because you have to push it on. The biggest problem is when you go downhill for a number of miles or kilometres, 3 or 4, and then you hit a hill and you haven't been pushing it, you have been freewheeling a lot, and when you hit the hill you automatically and immediately get big legs. But when you're pushing it on and really going for it, well then you don't have that effect on the start of a climb.
Well, it was saying in the magazine I was reading, they went over the Côte de la Route on something like 39.19, 39.17. I felt that part of the Sartre-Tillman could be ridden on 53.17 or 53.19. I think that must be just a training ride, because it looked to me like you've got to come down a lot smaller than that to climb this hill which lies ahead of them. So they'll be onto that one shortly. A long dragging climb. It seemed to me to be the incessant climb all the way up them. And I think the lead is now about 2 minutes, if I can hear correctly over my headphones, for the group here. As they start the Côte de Sartre-Tillman, you can see it's 3,600 metres in length. That's just a couple of miles, and it goes up very steadily all the way. They're on the bottom of the climb now, and then it's going to turn and twist and turn all the way up. And this is the last but one climb of the day, although still coming in the final 5 kilometres. It does go up and down a bit. There are some cobbles and a bit of a drag in the final kilometre as well that could sort a few people out. Well, they're just calling out the Lotto car. He went up to the front. I've just heard coming up by the headphones, the chief of the jury, the commissaire, told him to come back a bit. The two lads at the cofidis at the back here, that's Van den Broek, number 61, alongside Falazin, number 63. They seem at the moment to be taking this one fairly easy. Would you train over this course? I mean, when you came down Liège, Bastogne, Liège, did you do the last bit at all, Sean, or just sort of throw yourself in and just hope you knew what was going on? Is this a course you've got to ride the last 20, 30 kilometres? No,
we would certainly come down and ride the route, because, as you said, it's changed every year, or changed a bit. This year it has been changed more, but we would always come down on a Tuesday, do Flèche Wallonne on the Wednesday, and then on Thursday or Friday we would go out and we would do quite a lot of Liège, Bastogne, Liège. Certainly the last 100 kilometres we would cover all of that to refresh it in our minds again, and to get to know the start of the hills and the run into the most important hills. But we're looking at Van den Broek on the back with Farazin there. I think Van den Broek, he's getting into problems, because sitting in that position at this moment, I think he's definitely in trouble.
Well, keep your fingers crossed for him. It's quite possible, though, isn't it, to come back, Sean? I mean, we all go through a bad patch, but this is not a good place to go through a bad patch, is it?
Well, you can go through a bad patch, you know, in the middle of a race when it's not really going that fast. But I think when you're going through a bad patch here and what's up ahead, I think it's going to be very difficult for him to come through.
Well, Commons in at the back at the moment, either biding his time, also going to bad patch, looking quite lively and pedalling quite a lowish sort of gear. Cameron's always been a nice flexible sort of ride. That's your group then. The first 3 numbers are from the Mappe Quick Step team. Rux is on his own then in there right now with no teammate to support him. Van den Broek and Farazin both riding for the Cofidis team, but the biggest numbers out there are the riders from Rabobank. You see him in the white and orange, except for the red, white and blue colours of the national champion, Bogart, also for the Rabobank team. This is Ertz then, we just watched him. This is the Mappe team on the front at the moment, and that man right now is a great teammate of Bartoli, Bettini, who's going to bury himself for his teammate, just keep the pace going. And well, it's dedicated domestiques whose whole ambition is to see their man win the race. Ertz is following on behind him right now. Then that's the Rebellin of Polsi, that's Sprook. Then the rest of the Mappe team and the riders from Rabobank behind, but still tail end charling at the moment. That's Rooks on the right hand side for Casino. This is the world champion, and just up in front of him in the pink and white is Udo Bolt. So they pick up most of the star performers. This 16-man group now lead over 2 minutes, and still there's no way they're going to break this one. I think somehow deep down they know that lays ahead them the Côte de Saint-Nicolas, and certainly this is the second time we've been on this particular course. We didn't have anything like this last year, because this particular point, if memory serves me correct, Bettini Bartoli had gone away and was decimating everybody in sight. So the group still some 60 men in contention. This is amazing at this particular part of the race.
Yes, it certainly is, David. You know, so many men going to the final after such a hard race, and after racing so hard all day, it's going to go into the final climb. It's going to be decided on this run up in the last 3 or 4 kilometres. Which is something we have never really seen before, I don't think, in this race.
Well, I'm just checking, Sean. They should get to the top of this climb at 5 minutes past 4 Central European time. That's 5 minutes past 3, those you're watching on British Eurosport on your digital transmission. And that will be an average speed of 41 kilometres an hour. So that's the sort of speed they're travelling at the moment. And that is, I mean, last year, for instance, I'll just check what it was. I'm looking back down here in 96, it was 37 kilometres, 1995, 39, 36. I don't think they've actually broken 40 kilometres an hour in the past, but it looks like they're going to do that this year around. Still together, look at this group. Well, I don't think anybody's going to cross that gap, so winner's going to come from this particular one. I'm sure the book is a shot on Sunday. You can't put a bet on, but I know but people back in Great Britain do like to support certain riders and have your own hopeful and favourites. Let's let me then, as we're going up this climb, recap on what has happened so far. You watch what's happened, Sean, and give me a sharp clarity if I'm not watching. 10 climbs today they've been over on the race, 264 kilometres. We're now getting on this climb at the cut to start Tillman with 14.5 kilometres to go, and one man's going away. Yes.
Now we have an attack of Amersfoort.
So
Abersolt.
So Abersolt's trying to go away. We had some 12 men go away quite early on, and when they came through after about 114 kilometres of racing, they were getting a gap of 5 minutes, and it was growing. They came back. They were caught just before the Côte de Vannes, and another attack then coming. It looks Bettini now going. This is amazing. Now with Bettini attacking, is that just to sap the strength, or do you think that Bartoli is giving him freedom to go?
Well, it's it's anyone to make the decision. Maybe Bartoli, as you know, he's not feeling very well, and you know Bettini he's got a free card, and or as you said, he maybe send him up the road to shake things up, and you know, you just never know what the tactics. There's so many tactics they can employ out there.
Well, he's certainly shaking things up. The race, I say, we had 12 men go away early this morning. They got caught with some 150 kilometres of the race covered just before the Côte de Vannes. Straight away, we had further attacks. Tobias Stenheiser and Bart Voskamp went away, and over the Côte de Vannes, they took first and second place. Voskamp first, Steinhauser second. When they came down the other side, breakaway group attempted by Falcone of Mercato Nuno, Van Lanker of Flandern 2002, Big Matt Rider, Sivakov tried to go away. He had a thumping, big, enormous crash going into the Stavelot before the Côte de Stocco. They reversed the course. We went over a different route. The Côte de Stocco, the crash brought down a lot of riders. There were about a dozen of them came down in a big heap, and Alana was delayed by that and really split the field before they went up the Côte de Stocco, where we started to see a bit of action when Jalabert went away off the top of the Côte de Stocco. He took off, and with something like about 87 kilometres covering, going up towards the Côte Vadaraval, he went away. Jalabert went with Garcelli. Garcelli got dropped, and Jalabert stayed away for the thick end of about an hour of racing. He romped away, but eventually he was pulled in, and the group you see here formed when they went up the climb of the Côte de la Redoute, which was with some 36 kilometres to go. The attack started on the Côte de la Redoute by Bartoli. He was quickly joined and then passed by Vandenbroek, who took this group you see here with him. He tried to go on his own, did Vandenbroek, but bit by bit the groups have come back again. We've now got some 16 riders as now more action coming up. Just trying to see who we got here. Marco Velovic is then from Mercato Nuno. So the one-off riders here in the race are not going to be dominated in their thought process by the presence of 4 of the Rabobank riders, 3 from Mappe Quick Step. But they just don't seem to have the strength in their legs now, because this particular part of the course, they'll have covered something like 248 kilometres of racing. Well, that's it. They're over the top of the climb. That's 249 kilometres covered now. 14.5 kilometres to go. Turn right. Another long, fast descent down here, by the way, before we hit the bottom of the valley and the final climb of the Côte de Saint Nicolas. Wow, Sean, this is going to be... We're going to have a sprint finish, are we?
Well, I don't think we'll have a sprint finish, because when they start this final run-up to the bottom of this final climb, there's 7 kilometres to go now. To the start of the climb, and I think when they will hit there, everything will explode. There'll be riders everywhere, but there's a lot of riders getting a very good ride, like Cam is in, who's getting a very good ride here. He's sitting tight and he's in a good position, and there's quite a few riders there who can do very well, and they're not doing any pulling at the moment, so it's a perfect situation for them.
Well, I've just been looking in the records. I said I didn't know when they broke 40 kilometres per hour. In fact, last year, Bartoli, when he beat Jalabert in second spot, Massey third, the average speed was 40.077 kilometres per hour. So it was a quick one last year. It looks like we're on to a similar race this time. Last year covering 265 kilometres, this year 264. So a very similar distance and a very similar speed, but we haven't seen a group like this coming in, because last time Bartoli at this particular point was away on his own and heading in to try and get the victory. So they're jumping all over the place then. Sean, we've got this young lad Ertz in there this morning, and you were saying the Lotto people didn't seem to think he'd be able to stand the pace. He's still in there. Is it going to be more difficult for people like Bartoli and his team to watch out for, I won't say unknowns, but I mean, Ertz last year was riding, well, I think it was London 2002. He suddenly comes in at this level, and you've had to ride alongside who the hell this is. Make it very difficult for a seasoned pro. What do you do in these circumstances? You try and suss him out and go a bit quicker, make his legs hurt? What would you do when you say, who's this bloke?
Well, you know, I think the riders will know him much better than us guys in the races leading up to this, like in the Paris-Nice or the Tour of Pays Basque. They will know his capabilities.
He's fourth in the Pays Basque, wasn't he? He was fourth,
yes,
yeah.
So he's an up-and-coming rider, and I think today's ride up to now, I'd say he's surprising a lot of people, and I would say he's surprising Jean-Luc van den Broek as well to be in here with a shout so close to the finish. And he was on the radio too there at the moment, and he said he's doing a very good ride, an exceptional ride, and he's very happy with. No matter what he does from here in, he'll be happy with his ride today.
Well, I think that Belgian cycling seems to be coming back on the uplift now. I mean, look what the number of races they've run this year already. The Belgian riders, Van Petegem winning early on. We had Chimil, who's now naturalised Belgian, winning the Milan-San Remo. We had them dominating the Het Volk. We had them dominating the Flèche Wallonne. Belgian cycling seems to be coming back, whereas French cycling seems to be going down, doesn't it? Nations have, and the Italians are still there. They've won more than anybody else. But I'm glad to see the Belgians come back, because they've been through one of the bad patches. And I seem to remember there was only one team, Lotto team, soldiering on with no real success a few years ago.
Yes, that's true, David. Belgium went through a number of lean years, but now they have a lot of riders coming on. The last couple of years they've done well, of course, with Museo, but with these younger riders coming up like Abarth and Van den Broek, they have quite a few very promising riders. And not only riders just for the classics like the Tour of Flanders, they have riders who can win like a Paris-Nice and bigger stages. So I think further down the road, the likes of Van den Broek, he's capable of winning a Tour of France.
Sean, you lived in Belgium for many years. In fact, I think you were based in Brussels. Just tell the people what the Belgians' attitude towards cycling. I don't think anybody living in Ireland or in Great Britain can understand how they treat cycling here. I mean, you were riding here. Just how the public respond to cycling.
Well, that's true. A lot of people, David, ask me what's it like to live in Belgium, but I say the answer is you cannot. I cannot give a description of what it's like to live in Belgium, because being a cyclist is a totally different thing. They're totally fanatic about cycling, and everybody knows about cycling. Everybody in Belgium follows it. So if you live anywhere in Belgium, you have so much support around you. Sometimes it's a bit of a disadvantage, because they're always around you, and they're always wanting you to do things, and they are very supportive, and I think they're a very good race of people and a very good country to live in for a bike rider.
Well, and they've taken to the race in big way. We also got going past our commentary point now, the advanced caravan, including some of these little smart cars. They look like Diddy Mickey Mouse job, but they're very, very popular now. In Paris, I see many of them being ridden. They're a tremendous little car, good a two-seater motor car. Well, I think it's 600cc engine, and I've got a suspicion that they're going to be very, very popular in the future. Watching Bernardino also walk past our commentary point here now. The photographers are gathering. The Policy Cavalcade's gone through La Redoute, one of the sponsors of the event. They've gone through. There we are. I told you that this Arles them with 10 kilometres to go. They're just coming through, and that's the steelworks down there below. There's been big piles of slag heaps too from the coal mines just not far from that particular point where you saw. We're also going past the main football stadium shortly before we then move in towards those final few kilometres with that climb up the Côte de Saint-Nicolas. And that's a nasty little backbreaker. It's about a kilometre and a bit, and it goes up and up, and he never seems to finish at all. And there's still a lot of riders here in contention, and any one of them that can climb. It has to be a climber, I believe, that can go up there. There's the football stadium. I told you we'd see it desert at the moment, and we will be ahead of time. So those who are going to watch the football live on Eurosport, when we've got from Nigeria, the football coming through, we should be able to. It's the quarterfinals starting at 5 o'clock Central European time, 4 o'clock British Eurosport time. I don't see any reason that we're going to be behind schedule. In fact, we're going to be way up on schedule, because this rate of knots, they're going to be finishing around about 4:30, I would think, or thereabouts, and that really is going to be another very, very fast ride indeed. But we've got a lot of rides compared with last year when we were just watching Bartoli go into the finish. Look at this. Wow, they really are going. And he's come back with a bang. Farazin's down there. He must be said by Van den Broek to go, eh?
Yes, David, just looking at that, Farazin is just giving it everything now. He's riding riding, you know, full out, and he must be doing that for Van den Broek. So Van den Broek must be feeling okay. He must have got some orders from Van den Broek to do that. But if we look at the group of riders we have coming in here, like if Amersfoort and Van den Broek, Rebellin, Bogart, all of those riders are all magnificent finishers in this sort of a finish, you know, an uphill finish. So we will, you know, we'll have a magnificent finish here in the next number of kilometres.
Well, we had Bartoli coming in to win last year. He had a nice little breakaway on the rest of the field, but looking back over the years, when Lance Armstrong and Berzin went across in 1994, Berzin winning by 1 minute 37 seconds. Eddie Merckx won by 2 minutes 40 seconds in 1972. Breuer by 4 minutes 40 seconds before that, 1976. 1966, Jacques Anquetil won by 5 minutes and 24 seconds, and Bernard Hinault, who just walked past our commentary point a moment ago, in 1980 beat Henny Kuiper by 9 minutes and 24 seconds. You're not going to see that now. You're going to see 16 riders coming up for this final climb, and there's only going to be seconds in it at the end of this, because I'm sure that enough riders in there will be able to make life difficult for each other. This is going to be an amazing finish. I've not seen anything like it on this particular finish. Last year, Bartoli on his own romped away, but now it's going to be some humdinger. Come on, Sean, stick your neck out. You've been watching it like I have. Any predictions on who's going to be merciless on this climb? And if they get over the top, will he stay away? Because they're still at 4 kilometres to finish. Who do you think's going to get it?
Well, I have no idea, David. You know, there's so many great riders and great finishers at this sort of running here in this group, and the number we have, like, it's unbelievable to have so many riders at this moment in the race. We're definitely going to see a very spectacular last couple of kilometres, and I just, you know, it's difficult to say. It's depending on what happens right at the beginning of the climb and how much they come over the top with. Will they stay away on the flat, running the last 2 kilometres on the flat to the finish?
Well, looking back at last year then, Michael Bartoli won by 1 minute and 13 seconds. He'd been out there on his own, running in over the last 2 climbs, just ahead of Jalabert with Massey at 1:21. Francesco Casagrande, Michael Bogart in 5th spot, and Frank Van den Broek, who's here at the moment, finished in 4th, 5th and 6th. They're 1 minute 35 seconds down. Andre Perron was at 7th, 1:44. Ginetti 8th, 1:47. Martin Dembach, who's in this group as well, was at 2 minutes and 4 seconds with Dufaux. But here they are now, starting on this climb, and we've still got all those riders in contention. Bartoli, Bettini and Figueres of Mappe, Rux of the Casino squad, Bogart, Aberzol, Den Bakker and Zeberg of the Rabobank team. In the Etz for the Lotto team, Van den Broek in the red, white and blue with his teammate fellows in, likewise for Cofidis. And now the attack is coming in. It looks like Bartoli's started to go yet again.
Bettini.
No, Bettini's gone again.
Yes, Bettini is doing a lot of. He's been very active over the last kilometres, and he seems to be in very good shape. He was doing a lot of driving, and he seems to be very strong at the moment.
But it's Bogart now starting to go on the left-hand side. Cameron's in on the right-hand side. Cameron's dropping back a bit. The world champion. Spruck on the left-hand side in the pink and blue. Still going up there and following on. Looks like Van den Broek is still there. So Bettini has opened up a useful little gap at the moment. But his legs seem to be going a bit slow. This is a terrible climb, isn't it, Sean? It never seems to end, does it, eh?
No, it goes on, and it turns around all the time. You can never see the top. It's just one bend to the next, and you can never see just until you come around the last bend to the top. And I found it, you know, it was a very, very long climb, and one of the very difficult climbs. It's probably the difficult climb I've ever seen in the final of a race like this.
Well, and this man knows it then, coming up towards the finish now. Bogart also knows how it is, having been up there, that top 10 finishing last year now. Just going up at his own steady speed. Looks like he's going well. I think you've got it. You were slightly biased towards Bogart, weren't you, before the race today, huh?
Yes, well, now we have Bogart and Van den Broek now in the front.
Well, last year Bogart finished 5th, Van den Broek finished 6th. They know this climb well. They know last year that Bartoli had gone away. They couldn't pull him back, but now they could be in with a shout to win the victory. We've not seen Bartoli, who must have taken a bit of a pasting and sent his man up down the road, and down the road, it's up the road as far as this lot's concerned. It doesn't really give you the picture as Van den Broek starts to accelerate again, so he isn't completely stuffed from his early attempt to get away.
Yes, it looks like Van den Broek has still got the legs. He looked in trouble earlier on, but now he's just rode away from Bogart, and with the way he's riding, he's going to be very hard to take back.
So it looks like he has gone through the bad patch. Oh, then, of course, he might have been spoofing and pretending he was stopped after that little attack to go away. He's now going to pull it in Bettini, who's been allowed a few moments to on the front. And the gap has opened up now, so he's going to take some catching. Who's got the legs to come up to him? But don't forget, when he gets over the top, he's still got to run into the finish with something like over, what, nearly 5 kilometres. And it does go down and then up again. So it's not an easy run in, but he may have the strength to stay away.
Yes, well, the advantage is when a rider's on his own, he can give it everything, because he doesn't have to worry about somebody not doing the same amount of work. If you get 2 or 3 guys who go away, you always have one that wants to sit on, or maybe 2 that doesn't want to do the pulling, and then they start looking at each other. But a rider on his own, well, then it's a perfect situation, because he can give it 100% right to the finish.
So 5 seconds between Van den Broek and Bogart at the moment, and they're coming up. It's now growing all the time. He's over the top of the climb, and then it'll be down the cobbles. There's some nasty, really bone-shaking cobbles ahead. This is not a normal, nice, smooth run-in by any means, and that's certainly going to shake him. And this peloton's got back together again.
Yes.
Well, what's left of the peloton?
Yes, it's... Yeah. 20 seconds of advantage between Van den Broek and that group, which has been pulled along by... So we have Van den Broek, Bogart, and then we have being pulled along by the Mappé rider.
Bartoli's attacked.
I don't know.
I just on the I think I'll...
Yes, that's true. On the radio is coming over that Bartoli has attacked.
Well, so he got something left in his legs, so perhaps he sent his mate down the road just to suss this one out. But in reality, with Van den Broek off now, then Bogart, and then Bartoli now is on a counter-attack. And they're going mad on the headphones right now with the radio tour, because there's all sorts of vehicles, motorcycles in the way. Cameron trying to get pictures, and Bartoli's trying to go a late lunge to come across. Remember, Bartoli has won this race before. He won it in 97. He won it in 98. He's done to try and get the triple. None of that. Bartoli was the man who romped away and won the Flèche Wallonne during the week now. And it's got to go back to 1991 when Argentine won the Flèche Wallonne on the Wednesday, and then went on to win the Bastogne Liège over the weekend. Eddie Merckx also did it in 1972, but can Van den Broek then hang on in there? He faded out of the Flèche Wallonne. He decided not to give it everything and keep his powder dry today. 12 seconds back then from the leading Van den Broek to Bogart, and this bunch is coming very quickly indeed, and Mr. Cameron just sitting in the wheels. Woohoo! Gosh.
Yes, well, Van den Broek has lived up to what he is quoted in the paper. He said he's going to be there today, and he's going to prove to a lot of people that, you know, he can do it, and he's certainly doing it out there now.
So Van den Broek then still setting a hot pace to the front, but there are a lot of riders behind. If they're prepared to relay each other, it's not over yet, because when they come down into about 1.5 kilometres from the finish, it drags up very slightly. Then we go through the kilometre after about a 500-metre gentle incline, and then still before we come to the left-hand turn in towards the finish, the 500 metres into the finish, it is still going up slightly. So it's not an easy run-in by any means. Van den Broek, 13 seconds, going all the way from Bogart. Still the chase group, led by Bartoli. Not caught up with Bogart yet a while. And it's growing all the time. Bogart's still after him. Well, Bogart could get himself up on the podium at this rate or not, but it looks like they may just about to make it. There are 2.5 kilometres to go.
Yes, and it's just coming over the radio. Van den Broek and Bogart are the same age, 24 years of age.
Well, I think it's sort of Van den Broek was suddenly burst on the scene, didn't he, with his Paris success? But Bogart seems to be close, you know, getting better all the time. And one has to have sympathy for him last year when he punctured in the World Championships in the rain, when the move was made, when Bartoli took off and he just didn't quite make it. But then, of course, he went on to win the Paris. As my co-commentator alongside me, Sean Kelly, winner 7 times the Paris, twice winner of this Bastogne Liège, and now looking with anxious interest to see if Van den Broek, the promising young star of the Cofidis team on a Belgium, can stay away from Bogart. 2 entirely different blokes in temperament and upbringing and background. The up-and-coming chirpy little newcomer, Van den Broek, from his age of 19, was the most successful rider at that particular time. And now Bogart, I think, realising he has perhaps got a chance, but can he get there? The gap last time we saw was gone up to 30 seconds then.
Yes, giving for Van den Broek, he has 15 seconds ahead of Bogart.
And 30 back to the other group, that's right.
Yes,
yeah.
And 30 to the chasers. I think Bartoli is an X on the road. We haven't been seeing him on the screen, but I would definitely see Van den Broek pulling off this race today.
Well, if you were a cameraman from Belgium, you were the Belgian producer of the programme, you'd certainly be staying with a Belgian going away here. And Van den Broek then showing his supreme courage, I think, of the way he's ridden this race. He tried to attack and get away further down the road, and we're now in this final little drag up toward the finish. This is the one I talked to you about. It's not easy to run in by any means, and that gap should be just about. Now, look at the determination written all over the face of young Frank Van den Broek here. He's going to be real. I mean, I think the bars are going to be heaving. We look back this week at what the Belgians have been doing in the racing. It's just phenomenal. They've been very strong indeed ever since the season started, and they got Chamil take the Lance San Remo. They got Van Petegem as well out there. They've done so well. Look at the way they dominated the Flèche Wallonne, and here they go now. They didn't get the Paris-Roubaix, but went to Taffy, but again they dominated the Flèche Wallonne during the week, and here we are now with the Van den Broek. He's going to make it surely.
Yes, he will certainly make it with that gap of 15 seconds at this stage of the race. He's, you know, it's in the bag.
Yeah. So, well, Bartoli, who's the winner of the Flèche Wallonne, has not now kept the same form through. The Italians have been very good in these races, so Bartoli's not going to get, having won the Flèche Wallonne, the double of the Flèche Wallonne and the Liège Bastogne Liège. But the Belgians have been looking so strong, and this man Van den Broek now has got time to look back. It looks like Bogart might be caught by the chase group, and I should think if Bartoli finishes up there in third or fourth place, he's going to be the winner of what they call the weekend Ardennes when they add the results to the best placing, because Bartoli, who was so strong going away on the Flèche Wallonne on the Wednesday now, has been distanced by this young man here. Van den Broek, 500 metres to go. He'll be swinging down the finishing straight any moment now, and you can see the crowd on both sides of the road applauding him. He's almost got time to relax and wave to his family if they're in the finishing straight. I'm sure they will be, because he predicted to do well in this race. What a tremendous performance, because of his performance at Paris-Roubaix, Sean, eh?
Yes, well, he did, you know, I was surprised at his performance at Paris-Roubaix, and he had a very good ride there. And winning this one today, he's going to take over the lead of the World Cup. Right,
so that's something then for him to celebrate. Look at this, he knows he's got it. I think perhaps he doesn't know he's got the World Cup yet, but certainly he's going to take the victory in the Liège Bastogne Liège. And looking back down the list of the riders, the last of the Belgian victors was Dirk de Wolf in 92, and I think that was a bit of a surprise victory. Van Lanker in 1990, and we're going to go a long way back before that to Breuer in 1978. So the Belgians now at long last in the Liège Bastogne Liège have got the victory from Frank Van den Broek, who takes the 85th Liège Bastogne Liège in fine start of 6 hours and 25 minutes of racing. Belgian and Van den Broek and Cofidis take the victory. 41.10 kilometres per hour. That's the fastest of the Liège Bastogne Liège we've ever had, and it looks like we might have a sprint coming up for the second place. Or is Bogart going to hang on? He's just hanging on then. Bogart now, the other 24-year-old who won the Paris-Nice at the start of the season, has maintained his form then. Looks back now to take the second spot, and a disappointed Bartoli will be in that group of riders behind. There are 14 yet to come, and there as he crosses the line, just some 28 seconds down. That's a very, very close gap indeed. And coming out the side, it's another of the... It's Zenbacher, yep, coming in then to take the third spot. So Rabobank second and third. Into fourth spot, a disappointed Bartoli, and you can see on his face he passed that commentary point. Disappointment written all over his face. He might have won the Ardennes weekend with his first and his fourth. Bettini leads in the chase, ahead of Abersold and Spurg and Kamazin, Ertz and Boltz, and the rest of them, with Rebellin just off the back of that pack. And our leaders come through. We have a gap of some 2 minutes to wait before the rest of the team come in.